Jazzcast Pros.
Welcome to Healing Her Within, where inner healing meets unstoppable power. This podcast is for women ready to stop shrinking, heal their inner child, and rise into their true selves. I'm your host, Maryann Rivera, and here we have real conversations about healing, growth, and reclaiming your voice. You were never broken, you were becoming. So take a breath, settle in, and let's begin from the inside out. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we have another amazing co-author in the upcoming anthology, In the Pursuit of Fearless Living, From Wounds to Wisdom. So, Kelley, without further ado, please introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are and a little bit about yourself.
My name is Kelley. I am a minister, a published author, a caregiver, a mother of 3, and a grandmother of 2. I am the owner of The Right to Inspire and the director of the Attitude to Empower. So these are our nonprofits, look to really encourage others in the event of trials and tribulations or discouragement. We love writing stories and also love helping others. Our nonprofit is geared towards families with children, helping assist with foster care children. So we do those, and also being a caregiver, we understand the need for assistance. It can be challenging, but we know that when you have a plan and determination, you can overcome the challenges.
All right. Thank you so much for that. So, we have another amazing author with us, Eboni. So, if you can just quickly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Eboni Henderson. I am the founder and chief strategic officer at Plan-It Eboni. I am also a licensed insurance agent and financial professional. And I enjoy and get the pleasure of working with successful people and helping them develop financial plans and making sure they have the proper insurance coverage so that they can live the lifestyle they want and so they can also leave a legacy for their loved ones.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for saying yes to this amazing project. So, Kelley, I know that you have written in the past because you have been in several of my anthologies before. What made you say yes to this particular one, From Wounds to Wisdom?
I think because of the journey that I am on now and being able to share that journey, it really helps others. I also met quite a few people that had strokes and were able to bounce back. And it is encouraging when you're able to bounce back. And then it also lets you know that even though they suffered, they didn't have someone 24/7 to care for them. So it caused them to reflect, and they understood, the challenges of being a caregiver, and they also knew the struggle with being a stroke survivor. So I think that puts you at a place of, okay, I'm still here for a reason and a purpose. So I got to fight and push through, the challenges that comes with it from the aftermath. So my husband being a third time stroke survivor, I often encourage like, hey, you're here for a purpose. God has you here for a reason. So now when you have to find that reason and fight, you have to push through. Yeah, I know it's challenging. I know it's hard and it's frustrating, but know that you're here for a reason. It is somebody's testimony from what your struggle is.
Yeah. And that's so true because sometimes things, I do believe that everything does happen for a reason, but sometimes when you are in the midst of the situation, it's hard to try to figure out what that reason may be or just make understanding of what's going on. So thank you so much for saying yes to this project. Eboni, and why did you say yes to this project?
Yeah, I said yes because I am on an exciting but scary journey. It's interesting that we're talking about strokes because almost 3 years ago, I lost my husband of 17 years to a stroke. He was 43 years old. And it took everybody by surprise. And so, our lives turned upside down when that happened. And I found myself in a space where I needed to reinvent myself and do that while helping our teenage children grieve while I was grieving myself. And so when I was presented with this opportunity, I wanted to take advantage of being able to share my story and how I made it through the grieving process and how I'm finally finding myself, for the most part, on the other side of it. Grief, it just creeps up on you at the most unexpected times. But for the most part, I'm feeling much stronger, and the experience of losing my husband has taught me a lot about myself. And so just wanted to share my story and be able to share some encouragement for those who are grieving, and to let you know that there are so many opportunities out there that you may have never stumbled upon if you hadn't experienced this situation. We will all have our turn, and it is just a part of, the life cycle.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that also with us.
Mhm.
So, Kelley, what do you hope the reader, particularly the woman that's going to be reading this book, what do you hope that she will walk away with and gain from reading your chapter?
I hope that she gains that she is a phenomenal woman, whether she know it or not, and she can persevere and overcome and rise over it. As women, we are, I want to say maybe born with the nurturing and being able to multitask. And
Hmm.
so being a caregiver, a full-time caregiver and a full-time employee, everything rides on me. So in balancing workload, family, doctors, therapists, medications, making sure that he's good, and making sure that my daughter is good because she is a special needs, but also making sure that I'm able to be able to take care of me so I can be 100% for them. So being a woman, we multitask daily, whether we, really see it for what it is or not, but we do. We carry all the load basically,
Yeah. Hmm.
but we know where our strength come from. And so when you have some people that will help lift you up and encourage you to continue to push, continue to persevere, you know that you can do anything. What brought me to mind was the poem that Maya Angelou had wrote, "Phenomenal Woman,"
Mm.
and "Still I Rise." So those kind of stuck out because looking at the 3 years, and basically it was 3 years was rough, but looking back, and I'm like, okay, and it taught me how not only to seek resources, but don't be afraid to ask for help. We were one that didn't ask for help. And then people would come like, "Hey, I didn't know you was going through this and all this. What can I do?" So it was like trying not to let pride get in the way, but knowing that I need the help. I had to release, release some tension, release some help, release that pride of, you need help, you need support. Find you a good support team and know that, they care and that they love you and that they're not going to use this against you or use this to say, yeah, I helped Kelly and Eric in the family. No, you find you a good support team and prayer.
Yeah.
Find something that will help you get through. Get some positive affirmations and know that you have people that will help you and assist you even in the midst of this, even though it's still a journey, but it's a journey that we can overcome if we continue to persevere and have that determination.
That's awesome. And the thing about it is that I always hear people talk about it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village in any part of our lives because, yes, the children will, take a lot of your time when they're babies, but then they will grow up, and it's kind of like, the cycle kind of like reverses, because then you end up having to take care of spouses, parents, and things like that. So definitely that's a good tip to, tap into your support system because it's very much needed. So thank you for sharing that. And Ebony, what do you hope the reader will get out of reading your story?
I hope that healing comes as a result. I want them to take advantage of some of the self-care tips that I provided in the book. And it was very important to me to outline some of the things I did. Um, I'm a very pensive person, very reflective naturally. So during my grieving process, I did a lot of writing. Like my business is literally called Plan-It Eboni. So I'm always planning, I'm always making lists and things of that nature. And I started to make lists of what I was wrestling with, some goals I wanted to accomplish, what I was supposed to learn out of it, because initially you're just trying to make sense of everything. And I was feeling numb for a long time. And so I'm just like, okay, why? We all ask why. And I'm like, there's a lesson in everything. And being able to write in that way, it wasn't formal. I call it a brain dump. When anything that came to my mind, I would just write it down. And then later I would organize those thoughts and see, what the themes were in those. And so just wanted to pass that along. But there are some other tips outlined there. And then I hope readers will start to dream differently and dream for their now and their later. What I realized was sometimes when you're married or you're in a long-term relationship, you fall into these different roles and responsibilities and you kind of limit yourself. And then when you can no longer do that, you kind of have to rewire your brain and it forces you to think differently, to want differently. And so I think that it's valuable for people who are grieving to take advantage of where they are and do things that they otherwise wouldn't have done. And so I hope they get that from the book. And then also just to piggyback and say to lean into your network, lean into your tribe, your family, your friends, and pursue your goals courageously because it is scary to be tethered to someone for decades and then find yourself single, especially when you have children. And so it takes a lot of courage on the other side of that fear to still push forward and, carve out a new path for yourself. And so I hope that readers will take that away from the book and think of different ways they can do the same.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing also. So, with the new year, Ebony, what are you looking forward to in 2026?
I'm just looking forward to possibilities. I have audacious goals for myself. I want to be a millionaire next year.
Yes.
And if I fall short of that goal, that's okay. I'll be closer to it than I am now.
Right.
I also, through my financial planning business, I want to be able to help at least 100, especially women. I want women to be the bulk of that. I want to be able to help them create some comprehensive financial plans that can totally transform the way they're living their life and help them set some goals and do that dreaming and say, okay, what are some audacious goals for yourself? And let's get them out. Let's write about it. Now, let's figure out a path financially of how you can get there and make sure that those who are underinsured or not insured at all, that I educate them to help them understand how life insurance can set you up to where you can use it as your own personal bank and not have to borrow from others while also leaving a legacy for your loved ones. And it is certainly a tool to develop generational wealth. And I want to be able to help 100 people do that next year.
Love that. I love that. And Kelley, what's one thing you're looking forward to in 2026?
I'm looking forward to just healing, healing, just seeing a turnaround, not only in my husband's health, but both of our health because it's been taxing on me. And being able to be a motivational speaker in this area because there's so many that don't know how to get resources or don't know how to really release the anger, the frustration, the mental as well as the emotional state. And being able to share even with youth that might have to experience this, hopefully not, but life happens, things happen. But being able to share and encourage others, being that motivational speaker to let them know, hey, you got someone in your corner. You may not know it, you may not understand, or you may not ever see them, but knowing that someone genuinely cares and wants to see your well-being at a top level and being able to give you that support and be that support system for you is my heart's desire. I love to see when people rise and be encouraged and as Sister Ebony said, to fulfill their dreams. So many people have dreams that they don't get to see happen. And I am being able to see dreams come true, even in my life. So I want to be able to give that to others, being able to be here for our grandchildren and help them fulfill their dreams. So that's my goal.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. That's awesome. So, as we get ready to close out, Kelley, share with the people where can they find you, connect with you, and learn more about you. And then Ebony, same thing, so we can
All right. Well, I am uh, a published author with quite some time, multiple books, and a part of a lot of anthologies. So you can find me on Facebook. My name is Kelley Poet Emotion Smith. I am on Facebook, and then the business aspect is the Right to Inspire. I do have a business page, and so you can find me there as well. I am in the process of preparing for some book signings in the upcoming year, so you can just follow my page and keep a look on that. It is talking about the journey. It's called 42822 Battle for Living. And so if you want to know more about how I got to this point, you have to buy the book. So I'm not going to say anything any further, but feel free to reach out to me. Those that looking for a motivational speaker, I am available. I just love to share encouragement and be able to motivate others.
awesome. Thank you. Then Ebony.
Yes, I can be reached through my website, planetebony.com. That's PlanetEboni.com. I can also be reached via LinkedIn. Just search for Eboni W. Henderson and send me a DM if you're interested in doing some financial planning. That's the best way to reach me. You can find a link to my page to book some time with me. But I would love to get to know you, even if you don't want to do financial planning and you just want to talk about grieving or anything that comes to mind and talk about the book. Please reach out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, ladies, for being with us today.
Thank you, Maryann.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please leave us a 5-star review and share with a friend or two. If you aren't already following us on social media, please connect with me on LinkedIn at Maryann Rivera-Dannert or visit our website, MaryannRivera-Dannert.com. I will catch you next week with a brand new episode, and remember that you are a priority and you matter. And one last thing. This is a disclaimer. The information shared in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and it's not a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. I am not a licensed therapist or counselor. If you're dealing with mental health or emotional challenges, please seek support from a qualified professional or a licensed counselor. Have a beautiful day.